Hi, everyone. I expect Kelly Atwood to be on here any minute. I'm sure she's just experiencing the technical difficulties we can sometimes have. I can't wait to talk to Kelly. For those of you already tuning in, she is going to share so many juicy tidbits about wealth and how to be wildly wealthy at that. So I can see her trying to come in. If you can hear me, Kelly, just try doing a refresh. Sometimes that's all it takes. The first time I did Blab, that's what I had to do. So for those of you who can hear me as well, I am sitting in my vehicle. Here we go, Kelly. I got you. Sitting in my vehicle outside of an arena. That's the really fun thing about this job is you can do it from anywhere. I am really looking forward to speaking with Kelly. So I'm just going to see. Hi there.
Hi, can you hear me?
I can hear you, but we can't see you yet.
You can't see me. Okay, let me, sorry you guys, it's my first time on Blab.
Don't even worry, that's okay. You might just have your camera flipped around maybe, or...
I was having a problem with my laptop camera earlier today, so let me see if I can connect using my phone.
Sure.
Be a little bit easier. How are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
Good. I'm so excited.
I'm excited too. And I have to tell you, it was just by chance. It's never by chance, but it's by chance that I caught your Periscope today and it was fabulous. So, I can't wait to talk to you about all the stuff that you're going to share today.
Oh, I'm excited to chat. Let me just, okay, I have the link here on my phone. Let me just do this and see.
Yeah, no problem.
I just started using Periscope like 2 months ago, and so the Blab thing, I'm like, ooh, this is a fun new little tool we can use.
Yeah, I love it. I love it so much. I don't mind Periscope, except I love talking so much to people that the Blab seems to be a little bit more my style for that reason.
Totally. Okay, let's see. Why isn't this opening here? Maybe I need to, let me close out on the laptop real quick and see if that works.
Sure.
I'll be right back.
Yep. Technology is so much fun. I love it. Thank you for those who are tuning in. I can see you there. I'm so excited for tonight. And so for those of you listening, and I do at least one, if not two, sometimes three mindset mastery blabs a week. Hi, Toby123. 2B123, I guess it is. So I do these 2 or 3 times a week. I talk to various people. I'm going to have someone from the music industry in a couple of weeks. I have a lot of coaches, beautiful spirits, all kinds of people that share their advice with us on mindset mastery. And I absolutely love it. I learn something every time. And I'm so excited to share Kelly's knowledge with you guys as well, because she has some wonderful stories and experience in what she's doing. There we go. Hi, frisbee guy. Frisbee guy. Hi.
Is that okay? We just use the audio because I'm having problems with the video.
Yeah, don't worry about it. That's fine.
Perfect. Okay.
Yeah, hi there. So, as I was saying, I am so excited to talk to you. I have a lot of guests that are on that share all kinds of advice around mindset, and I'm really excited to talk about wealth because this is something that, a lot of people, if they're really honest, that's what we're all going for, but we always get hung up in our mindset around it. So just tell me a little bit about your story and how you became to be the wildly wealthy coach around money.
Yeah, okay, cool. So I've always had this really like disempowering relationship with money my entire life. I grew up kind of thinking that money was something that we had to like struggle for and really just bust our tails for and work really hard for. And I also had this belief that there was never enough, right? Um, that I would be kind of like screwed over by money all the time, or that money was something to be feared or to have a lot of panic around. Um, and, you know, I did a lot of personal development work and started my coaching business in 2013, end of 2013. And noticed that I was carrying, like I was having a great time coaching. I loved coaching people, but I was bringing all of that money stuff into my business. And so I was like not able to pay my rent on time, and just, it was just a nightmare. I was having a lot of problems financially. And meanwhile, like coaching people on their money stuff, right? So it just felt really misaligned for me.
Yeah.
And I discovered universal law, the law of attraction. I had seen The Secret book in, like, I don't know, 2007, whenever that came out. But I really started to get into it at the end of 2014. I got as many books as I could on wealth consciousness. I hired a wealth consciousness coach. I just like went after it. I was absolutely determined to shift my story about money so that I could become wealthy. I really got clear that that was something that I desired and something that I deserved to have in my life. And I just experienced these miraculous shifts around it. As soon as I got my mindset straight, it wasn't overnight, but it happened quicker than I was anticipating. So
That's, that's fantastic. And so many people that are listening to this, or that who will listen to the replay, you know, that is exactly their story. And it's something that, you know, we hear people who have reached success say it can change overnight, or, you know, it's a fast process when you get your mindset right. But when you're in the midst of the struggle, it doesn't feel like that at all. So I understand that you were determined to change that story for yourself. But really, what was the biggest and easiest shift for you? Maybe not the easiest, because there might not be the same, but what was the biggest shift for you when you started to go after it in a concerted way?
you know, I think I had to hit rock bottom.
Wow.
Um, I I had had this experience in my 20s. I mean, I was always experiencing lack and not enoughness in my 20s. And my mom would always save me. She would, you know, dish me a couple $100 if I needed it and things like that. But, you know, it was probably a year ago. Um, you know, I'm 33 now. I was 32 years old. My boyfriend had been helping me a lot financially while I was building my coaching business, and it was great. It was amazing, but I also noticed that it was kind of enabling me around my money stuff.
Yeah.
So it was around the holidays of 2014. I just asked him, you know, I said, can you just, I know it's going to be hard, but can you just not help? Just don't save me. I need to go through this. I need to experience this. Um, and there was a night when I actually didn't have enough money on any credit cards, in my savings, in my checking account, in my wallet, nothing to even go out and get myself some takeout food for dinner. Like, it was that bad. I had $0 left. Um, and it was just the most consuming feeling of panic and of disappointment and humiliation. Um, so I had like a bag of frozen corn kernels. I always talk about this as my frozen corn kernel moment. I had a bag of frozen corn kernels, and I got it out of the freezer, and I think I was just so upset in the moment that I didn't even bother to like put on a pot of boiling water. I just like opened the bag and started eating these corn kernels. And I was laying on my floor, and I was just so done. I was so over it. I knew at that point that I was destined for greatness. I knew that I had a gift to share with the world. And I was just like, this is just not, I'm just done. I just made that decision in that moment that that was no longer something I was available for in my life. Um, and really, I know it sounds kind of crazy, but really just having made that decision just set me off on this new trajectory where I was just absolutely determined. Um, so I think really like mindset is important, but you also need to start with that firm decision, you know?
Yeah, I absolutely love that. And, you know, my mentor is David Nagel. And, you know, any book that I've read on manifesting anything, money or otherwise. It's all about making the decision, taking action towards that, and then the universe will line up what you need to learn or what you need to have in order to achieve that. And the other thing is, I think it's incredibly brave that you asked your boyfriend not to support you while you went through that. And, it was also showing the universe that you were serious about this, that you wanted to once and for all, get rid of those demons that were holding you back around money. What do you say to people now who are struggling? They may not have hit rock bottom, but, is there a way to do this without hitting rock bottom?
Yeah, I mean, I coach my clients around their thoughts and their language. I think it's really important to notice how you're relating to money energetically.
Yes.
So really being conscious of your thoughts and your language, and really getting at the deeper root of like what your relationship to money is. I had this breakthrough moment with one of my coaches last year. I realized that I was actually, when I was in this place of being in financial breakdown, and my mom would swoop in or my boyfriend would swoop in, somebody would swoop in and save me. And it was, for me, this experience of being loved because I was being saved. So I realized that I was actually getting something from being in breakdown. There was some reward to it for me. And when I uncovered that, that was magic. When I realized what I was making money responsible for. So I think just really, doing the deeper work, really getting after what your relationship to money is, and then just being conscious of your thoughts and your language. I think those are the most important pieces.
Oh, I think that's absolutely key. And you're so right. It's one thing to, say the mantras, read the steps, all that other stuff. But it's another thing to actually acknowledge it inside, like to really believe that that's something you have to do. And there really isn't anyone out there to save us. It's really up to us to do this.
Yeah.
When you're coming up with your ideas, I know today on your Periscope you were talking about a money mindset practice that you have to start your day, and then that helps you tap in or get inspiration for your ideas for your business. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so I've been doing a mindset practice for about a year and a half now, but I recently revamped it, like really went after it. I wrote out 7 pages of empowering beliefs, things that I really desire to have true for me. And I read it out loud every morning. I put on a little bit of like spa music and get a cup of coffee or tea, and I read it out loud, and I read it really slowly so that I can feel each thing as if it's happening already. And then I just spend a couple of minutes visualizing my desired outcome, whatever that is for the day. Sometimes it changes, sometimes it's the same thing for like a month straight. And I actually have a really cool story about that, so remind me to tell you that. And then I do a little meditation, and really I'm just kind of centering and getting really present to my desires, and then just listening to whatever intuitive guidance comes in. I've gotten, the idea for the Periscope challenge came in from the what I call divine download. The inspired action for the Periscope came in that way. So I think it's really important for us to just connect with ourselves, connect with our higher selves, connect with our desires, and experience them as if they're happening right now. It's a huge part.
Absolutely. That is so true. And, I've done a lot of studying and work around the subconscious, and, the subconscious can't tell time like we can. So it doesn't know if something's happening now or we want it to happen in the future. So I love that idea that you're speaking about these things as if they're already happening, because you're programming your subconscious and helping to replace all the programming you had there before. That is wonderful. And that's exactly what I hope the people listening take to heart and start doing for themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what is the biggest shift you think you experienced after you started making money? Like, did you stumble backwards a little bit, or was it full steam ahead? Yeah.
Yeah, it was such an interesting process. I went, I can't remember if I shared this in my bio, but I went from making about $2,000 a month, sometimes less, sometimes a little bit more, to having a $29,000 a month in July. which, holy crap, Delora, like it was so exciting, but it was so terrifying. Um,
Yeah.
it was so funny. Everyone's like, what was it like for you after those couple of weeks? And I was like, I literally was laying in bed bawling my eyes out most of that month. I was terrified. My
Yeah.
boyfriend was like, what's wrong with you? You made $30,000. And I was like, I don't know what to do.
Yeah.
But
That's
so,
so true. I'm so glad you said that. Keep going.
yeah,
Yeah.
it was scary. I didn't know how to be with that much money, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, and it was a really interesting process because I noticed my survival mechanism came up and it was like, how can we sabotage this? So like the
Yeah.
next month, I think my income in August was like $600. It was crazy. Um,
Wow.
yeah, it was it was starting to go down. Like August and September were really rough months for me financially. I mean, they weren't rough. I was fine, but I was sabotaging. Um, but when I noticed what I was doing, it opened up this new door for me, this new area to explore. Like, why am I so uncomfortable having this much money? And so I really got to dig deep into that. I did a lot of work around that in October, and November, December, and this month have been very consistent 5-figure months. So it's good. I think I'm plateaued in that area. So
Well, I think that's so great. And it's also another reason, um, it's another reason for people to realize how important it is to work with professionals or experts around this. Even if we start getting a little rhythm, our subconscious, our mind is designed to keep us safe. And anything new, like your 30,000, you'd never done that before. So it feels scared about that. Like you said, you went into survival mode. And so if you have people in your life that are experts and aren't emotionally involved with you, they're able to pull you out of that. So were you working with your coach at the time, or were you able to tap into other people to help you?
I was working with, I think, just the one coach at the
Mm-hmm.
time. Thank goodness, because that was tough. It was really tough.
Yeah.
It was just a lot to be with. I've heard people say stuff like that after they create something, right? Like a piece of art or like an album, or maybe they like get on their first TV show, and it brings on this depression because it's almost like that thing. It's like, okay, well now I hit this, what I perceived as this unattainable goal, and now it's happened, and it's almost like, okay, well now what? Like now what do I do? You
Yeah,
know?
absolutely. Yeah, and you know what? I just finished reading Shonda Rhimes' book, The Year of the S, and she talks about that as well. She packed on the pounds, and she was, generally unhappy in her life. But there was other things that fed into it for her. But she had created a script how she thought other people wanted her to be instead of being herself. So that's the same idea. Like if you've never experienced it before, you just don't have anything to relate it to. And that's so powerful that you're sharing that, because I don't think everybody um, necessarily expects that that's going to happen, especially if it's around money. It's one thing if you're learning a new way of being, but your problems are solved. You just made $30,000. What's the problem? So it's so good that you share that with your clients and with us tonight.
Yeah, and
Where
another
do you, go
another
ahead.
piece of that too is like, I was always under this misconception that it was actually about the dollar amount, that like once I hit a certain financial goal that all of my problems would be solved, right? But the
Right.
reality is it's like whether you're making $2,000 a month or $30,000 a month, if you haven't shifted your relationship to money, you're going to recreate the same scenario over and over again.
Yeah, that's so incredibly true and so important for people to hear. We have to, just like you were saying that you're saying in your morning practice that you're speaking as if it's already here. The same idea. We have to get happy and solve the problems we have right now, because it's not money that's going to solve them. Um, but we also have to improve our relationship with money. What do you think was the biggest lesson for you around your relationship with money?
Oh, that's a really good question. Um, I think the biggest lesson that I've received through my relationship with money and through this work is I really learned how to stand for myself and for my desires. For most of my journey with money was all about victimhood, right? Everything was being done to me, and I was always reacting to reality, and it was always this really disempowered conversation. But what I learned is that we are extremely responsible for our results. We're responsible for the way that we think and the way that we talk and the way that we be in the world, and I hadn't really quite figured that out yet until I started doing the money work. And then once I learned that, it's like when you learn how much creative power you have just through your mindset and through your being, it's insane. Like doors just start opening. And so I think my relationship with money, my road with money was a great access point for me to really start to understand that. And I've been able to apply it to other areas as well, just, through that journey. So
I love that. I love that. And I think you just said something for me anyway. I don't know if that connection happened for you, but you just said that your money or just your life had been about victimhood and like things were happening to you and being the victim. And then you had also said previously that you were saved often by your mom or your boyfriend or whatever. I think that's incredibly powerful that the two were in your life at the same time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So when we're feeling those things and then being saved, we're not actually dealing with them. We're just kind of masking it or covering up. I think that's incredibly powerful. Good for you for making those connections, because that's not an easy thing to do for sure. Oh, here we go. The lights just went off in the car here. Sorry about that.
Mercury retrograde.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah, exactly. Well, I was supposed to be home for this, but then my son who plays hockey, sitting in my car. But it's so great. That's what I love about this job. You can do it anywhere, and I love Blob for that as well. So thank you for bearing with me on that. When you're working with your clients, so what is your ideal client?
My ideal client, I love working with coaches. Honestly, I love it. I love working with people on client attraction.
Yes.
But my ideal client is really just a woman who has her own business or desires to have her own business that isn't necessarily like totally struggling with money per se, but is really aware that she has a lot of blocks and is like ready to shift it now, like over it, ready to like really embrace wealth, be unapologetic about her desire to create it, and to have a desire to create wealth to have a larger impact, right? Not just to like create massive amounts of wealth and whatever, but to actually utilize that resource to influence and impact more people.
Oh, that's incredibly powerful. That's so empowering. And I think it's, especially for women, but there are men that have blocks as well, but especially for women, that's so necessary, because we have been, because of society, we've been kind of held back from owning the power that comes with wealth. So it's so great that you're doing that work. When you are working with your clients, do you find that they resist in the same ways that you used to resist the idea of making more money, or everyone has their own money story coming into this?
Yeah, it's funny. I have noticed everybody has their own little slant on it,
Yeah.
I do see, like I was trained in ontological coaching, so we call it our survival mechanism. I can recognize my own survival mechanism in other people for sure.
Mm-hmm.
I think the fact that actually that I just went through this last year and really shifted this has actually allowed me to see the fear in other people a little bit more clearly, because it's so fresh in my mind. Like I just recognize it right away.
Yeah.
But it's also really cool because you get to watch people like, some of my clients, like one day they'll just be in total breakdown and they'll be a total mess and they're like, I don't want to do this anymore. And they're freaking out, And then 2 days later, they're like getting hired and they're like on cloud 9 and they just like manifested a bunch of money. And it's just really cool to partner with people around that process,
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's so great that like you said, you were able to model it for them, or you were able to, you've gone through it, so you know what it's like. And I think that, nothing, like I said earlier, nothing happens to us by accident. It's, there are no coincidences. So, the people that are coming to you, they're coming to you because you've been there, their struggle, and you can relate to them. And, I think it's really beautiful that you're so open about your journey, that it wasn't all sunshine and roses, even if you're a wealth coach. Like, that is so important for people to hear, because as much as we want hope when we talk to our coaches, we want to know that, it is possible. And I didn't just start with a golden spoon in my mouth kind of thing, right?
Yeah, it also makes me, I think it makes me a little bit more intense of a coach, actually, though, because when people have all these reasons why they think they can't do it, I'm kind of like, I'm calling your bluff, because I was there and I could do it. So what's different about you? Like,
Yeah.
Why can't you do this?
Yeah, calling them on the bullshit. I love it.
Yeah, yeah.
That's good, but that's exactly why we need coaches, honestly, because, and we don't need someone that's going to be nice, or that's not, someone said to me, I don't even know if it was David. It might have been David Nagel that said, I'm not going to coach you like you want me to coach you. That's not my job. If that was the case, then you're not going to get what you need. I'm here to coach you on what is my expertise. So I think it's the same thing. If you weren't doing that with your clients, they probably wouldn't get their money's worth, really.
Yeah, totally.
That's so great. I love it. So tell us about your challenge that you have that just started today. Is that correct?
Yeah, so this is actually round 2.
Nice.
This month has been the month of technological breakdowns, which all of you guys on here, like, if you're wondering why you can't see me, we're blaming it on Mercury retrograde. But yeah, so I ran the first round of it. It's called Map Out Your Money 2016. I ran that about a week and a half ago. I started that, and so I'm running round 2 right now. It's on Periscope. It's actually it's a 7-day challenge. And my reason for that was I noticed a lot of people thinking that they just need to like meditate and like, do their mantras and all of that to create wealth. And although I think mindset is 75% of the game, there's also, I noticed that people are like doing their mindset work, but then they're like not even going to look in their bank account and like see what's going on or like take inspired action. And so I wanted to create a challenge where we can marry the two, where we can work on the mindset, but then also like, let's look at our numbers. Let's get clear on our finances and get empowered around them rather than terrified of them,
Yeah.
So
I think that's an excellent combo.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just posted a link to your Facebook group. It has a bunch of numbers at the end, but hopefully that still works. Like Wildly Wealthy Women, and I know that you have the link to the challenge there. And I like what you said, the idea that it's not just about meditating. It's not just about saying some mantras. You have to take action. And you know what? Even when I was on the scope, I've just taken control of the numbers at my house. It was my partner or husband, father of my kids, that was doing the money before. And my money story was that I wasn't good with money. I was told that my whole life. But then I had a government job where I was responsible for $14 million and used to come in almost on the nickel. So when you said it on the Periscope today, I'm like, oh, I don't think I've taken a deep enough dive on my numbers. So I've stepped up to that challenge for sure. Why do you think it is that we're so scared to know the real numbers?
I don't know, Delora. Honestly, like, I feel like we give numbers so much power.
Yeah.
It's just paper. It's literally like a currency exchange. It's an exchange for value. But I think we make the numbers mean so much about ourselves.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, like we attach so much humanity, so much emotion.
Yeah, and all the more minus you have, less you're valuable.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's just so interesting how we base our self-worth on what's in our bank account.
Yeah.
It's crazy. I think a lot of people just feel more comfortable not knowing too.
Yeah.
When I first sat down to do this, I thought it was going to be so much worse than it was. And I opened up my accounts and I was like, oh, it's not good, but it's not as bad as I thought it was going to be, you know? I think it's really empowering to just to take a look and to be brave and get clear and really just take a look at what's going on, whether it's with our money, whether it's with our weight, whether it's with our love life, whatever it is. Just I think looking at it and like getting really real with ourselves about where we are, where we want to be, and how big the gap is in between is the first step.
Yeah, I think that's incredibly powerful, because if you don't know where you are, you might know where you're going, but it doesn't matter. You know, what's the point of a map if you don't know the point where you're starting and the point where you want to go?
Exactly.
Yeah, I think that's so great. And in your Wildly Wealthy women's group, anybody can join, correct?
Yes, it's a free group. Yeah.
That's awesome. That's so great. And this is the second round of your challenge. And do you pop in and, offer up advice and that kind of stuff in the group?
I do. Yeah, I just started the Facebook group not even a month ago. It was like right before Christmas.
That's
Um,
awesome.
yeah, again, just an inspired action that came in during a meditation. I was like, oh, I should do this. It sounds fun. Like it sounded really fun to me, not like something that I should be doing, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, that's incredible. That's the way it should be. So, tell us about how people can work with you as well.
Yeah, so I have a one-on-one program called The Wealthy Entrepreneur. I do actually accept men into that program. I have one male client right now. And, we do a lot of masterminding together, the clients and I. So it helps to have a little bit of masculine energy. It kind of balances out while we're masterminding. So I have a couple spots open in that. And that's a year-long. It's more of like a business coaching and mentorship, but we focus a lot on wealth consciousness as well. And then I also have a group program launching. We're starting next Wednesday. It's called Wildly Wealthy. It's for women. And that's just focused straight up on money. It's a 6-month program really designed to help you shift your relationship with money, claim your desires for how much you want to make, and really step into that version of yourself that believes that she can do that. So.
Oh, I love that. That's fantastic and so needed. If you're able to, I don't know if you're on your phone or on the computer, but if you can put the link in for that, how people can reach you to get more information or to sign up to do that, because I can tell you that people that work with me or follow me absolutely would want that kind of support. Now, tell me, what is your goal for 2016 for you personally or for your business?
That's a really good question. I know my revenue goal right off the top of my head.
Right.
And I'm still terrified when I say it, but I totally believe it can happen. I want to bring in $500,000 this year in my business.
That's fantastic. That's so great. And you absolutely can do it.
Yes.
And it doesn't matter where you're starting. It can happen so quickly. I know so many people actually that have, once they get their mindset straight and take real action towards what they want, it changes as quickly as that. So no doubt you're going to achieve that. And what would you say your goal is personally?
2015 was one of the best years of my entire life, not just in my business, but personally as well. I shifted. 2014 was rough stuff. In 2015, I was really able to shift a lot. And it took a lot of work. It took a lot of commitment on my part. And I think that now I'm really ready to sink into the lifestyle that, I created this for. So we're going to Australia next month.
Oh,
and yeah, I'm so excited about that. We're going to be doing a lot of international travel, and really my goal is to get the support that I need to hire a team and get supported so that I can just be really, really present to my life, because it's going really well right now, and I don't want to feel like I missed it because I was too busy,
Yeah, I think that's so important. Good for you for looking for that. I don't really like the word balance, but for finding that balance, because I think it's key. I hear a lot of, especially new entrepreneurs that came from struggle and then did really, really well, they end up being burnt out. So the fact that you're recognizing that now is really important, and that you're open to hiring a team, because that's the other thing. A lot of people are trying to do this all on their own, and it's really damn near impossible.
Yeah.
Now, I was just thinking of something that, I thought of it on your Periscope today, and it just popped in again in my head. I was watching a free video from Wayne Dyer. God bless, he's passed, but he talked about our thoughts, and I know this is something that you talk about as well, and the fact that why would we think any negative thoughts? Because if we're doing that, we're welcoming that in our life. And he equated it to having a stack of, it's our currency. So having a stack of money, and you go into a store and they have really ugly rugs. And just because you have money, you're like, well, okay, just give me 6 of those rugs, even though I don't like them. And then your lamps, you go to the lamp store and you do the same thing. And then you get home and you're like, oh, I hate this place, but I just spent a whole bunch of money on this stuff. And so the same idea, if we think of thoughts as our currency for our mindset, and we're spending, the currency on bad thoughts, that's what we're going to end up in our house with, all this stuff around us. Can you relate to that analogy?
Yeah, totally. And I had this aha moment that's kind of similar to what we're talking about. I went to this wealth and difference making retreat in LA last spring. And I was really doing an excellent job of trying to convince everybody at the workshop how broke I was. I was literally up in front of all these people and I was waving I wish you guys could see me right now. I was like waving my arms, like telling everyone how amazing this story of struggle is and trying to like wow the crowd. And my coach, who was leading the workshop, was like, "What? Like, why are you trying to amaze us? Like, what are you doing with your story?" And I realized that it actually takes just as much effort to tell that story as it does to tell a new one that's empowering. It doesn't take. A lot of people are like, "Oh, it's so hard to shift our thoughts." It's actually really not. It just takes your awareness in the beginning.
Absolutely. Yeah.
It's like I equate it to like, say how long does it take to create a habit? 21 days, right? So say you decide you're going to start running, right? It's going to suck for a couple weeks. It's not going to feel comfortable, but then all of a sudden it's like, it doesn't feel so bad anymore and you actually really love it. And you find yourself bouncing out of bed to put on your running shoes and go running,
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's so true. I love that, that idea. And it really is uncomfortable because this is a new muscle, whatever, whichever way you want to think about it. This is a new way of thinking, a new way of being. Mel says he also teaches us not to hang on to money thoughts, rather focus on what you want to achieve and the money will happen. That's so true. I was also thinking, when you're working through some of these issues, what are the biggest resistors that people come to terms with, even if they know what their money story is? What's the bullshit that they most often put out there for you?
I think probably the most BS one that I hear all the time that I also try to pull with myself is like, who am I to be wealthy?
Oh, I love that. I'm so glad you said that, and it's so true.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's like, who are we not?
Exactly. That's exactly it. And, that goes back to something you said earlier, the idea that if you are on this, planet, like, of course, take your space. There's no reason why someone beside you should be, any more wealthy than you are. We're all valuable in what we do, and we all offer something different. Now, I've just unlocked the extra seat. If anybody wants to pop in with any questions that we have, we'll be wrapping up in a couple of minutes here.
Oh my gosh, this is so cool. So there's another space. Sorry, you guys, it's my first time. I'm like, wow.
Yeah, you can actually have up to four people on here at the same time.
Oh, this is so cool.
Yeah, it's so cool. Okay, here we go. We have somebody. Come on in. She's joining us. I can't tell the name here. I'm on my phone. She should be. Oh, hi.
Can you hear me?
We can, yeah. How are you?
I'm awesome.
So what's your name?
My name is Mel.
Hi, Mel. Oh, great. You were the one that was talking about Wayne Dyer. Is that correct?
Yeah, I love him. And Bob Brotter as well. Yeah. I get inspired. Yep. I love their mind sets about, like blockages and how we think, and your ego mind traps a lot of people, and we sit in the ego mind frame and we just can't work things out when we should actually follow our heart. Try and stop that thought and listen to that heart thought, and your true answers are there. And that's the hardest bit is, people that come into our life and they influence us in the wrong way. We get trapped in those, self-sabotaging thoughts of, why did they come? Why did that make me do this? Why was I depressed? Or, we sit in those and we just get caught up in that windmill when it's actually not your fault. You didn't ask this person to, how you get all that sort of mixed up emotional trauma thing happening in your egotistic mind. If you stop and think about it, and you wouldn't do that, right? Your heart calling said that you wouldn't do that to someone else. So you just think, right, it's that person, it's my ego mind talking, I'm going to correct this, they're not in my life anymore, I'm going to work with my true callings, you know what I mean? And then if you can decipher between both of them and realise it isn't you, it's not the real you, someone has come in with that source, and understand that, you can actually work wonders and become the real person and evolve in such a brighter aspect of life. Does it make sense? Probably not.
Yeah, absolutely. What do you think about that, Kelly?
The word that comes up for me is it's freedom, right?
Yeah.
It's like, when you distinguish that, then you're free. You're free to move on and to choose and to create on your own terms.
Yeah. That's so true.
Yeah.
What do you do? Where are you from? Go ahead. Sorry, go ahead.
My name is Mel, and I'm from New Zealand, and I'm a motivational coach, and I sort of teach anywhere from 18 to 65-year-olds, and I find it's the 18-year-olds that have actually been under their parents' roof and had the parents' rules and regulation and their beliefs, and then they've come out and they get a bit confused because they want to do their own thing and have their own beliefs, but they've sort of got that belief of their parents still, itching at them, and they either like that belief or they dislike it. And it's just that shifting the identity and actually saying, hey, I'm an adult now, it's my responsibility, I have to take action. And I love that because it's so raw. Do you know what I mean? Like it's like they're it's like that butterfly and they're trying to spread the wings, but they're not too sure where they're going to glide and where they're going, and they feel blocked and they feel stuck. And it's just giving them that reassurance that's okay. You can go with your instinct, and you can take the good from the advice that you've taken, and your parents, that they're really good role models. Oh, is it snowing out there? Wow.
Yeah, well, we have snow, but I don't know how I turned that around, so I don't know how to get it back now. Oh, there we go. I don't know what I just did there. That's so great. Yeah, no, it's so true. I think that, we all grow up with programming, whether it's from our parents, society, school, whatever it is, and that's one of the biggest things that we have to get over.
Yeah.
Kelly, when you are working with people and they have outside influences again, like I know you had a lot of support from your mom and your boyfriend, but do you have people that have been hesitant to push forward because of the people in their life rather than their own blocks?
Yeah, and I actually have personal experience with this. This has been something that I've been working through, with my parents. There's been a lot of difference in beliefs around money. With my mom has passed since a couple of years ago, but my dad and my stepmom, we have just very differing views of money. I think that my stepmom might be listening right now, so I gotta be careful.
Hi.
No, but I think that it's an opportunity for us to learn from each other, right? But I used to try to fix. I still get in this mode sometimes. I'm always trying to fix people. It's a little bit of codependency, and I'm not sure if it's just part of being on the personal development, train, but I've really, really seen what can happen when we take our hands off of someone else's steering wheel and we focus on ourselves and we focus on our own work and our own path and our own journey. What oftentimes happens is that people are so inspired they just naturally start latching on to what we're taking in or what we're, involving ourselves in.
Yeah.
So a lot of my clients, like their husbands or their boyfriends or their moms, there's a difference of opinions there. And I always just tell them, just keep focused on your work. Just do your thing. They'll see you shifting. They'll see you, experiencing more joy and more bliss, and they'll want a piece of it. And they'll be asking you for help,
Yeah, I love that. That's so true. Right,
that's so true.
Yeah.
When like my partner, his family have a different mindset and belief than the way I was brought up with my family, and and I admire that, because there's no right or wrong, right? If you don't get some parts of that, it doesn't mean to say it's wrong. You're just doing it differently in your family and vice versa. And we, as a family, we've got 3 kids, and we've put both those beliefs that we grew up in together as a package. And I see the value in the ways he's brought his belief into my children, and then the value of my beliefs I was brought up come in. And my kids are only little, but they're deciphering which, what they like and what they grasp from both of us, and then they're putting their own little pickle on top, which is really beautiful. But it's really, it's really grounding to see that beliefs can be so important and that value, and you can actually, once that have gone wrong, you can actually sit back and as a coach and observe them and actually say, okay, now what can I put in place to correct that belief that's not quite working in this family? Then the outside, the 2 families that come in and see it at work, they either go back and take it as a good armor or something, or they go, no, we didn't do it that way. But we just say, well, this is our way now. We've put a new cap to it. And I'm grateful that they accept our new belief, So I totally get what you mean, Kelly. It's beautiful, isn't it?
I love it. We have so much freedom to choose.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's so true. And you can choose something different, hourly. It does, just because you got up doing one thing this morning doesn't mean you can't have a different idea by the afternoon. I think that's so true and so powerful. I have about 5 minutes left before I run out of battery time. So I want to, Mel, I'm so glad you hopped on here with us. You have such a great spirit, and, all the way from New Zealand. Like, how fun is technology?
I know. And it's hot out here. It's really, really hot. And you're in snowland. And and it's Friday here, and I think you must be Thursday night. So I'm looking at the future.
That's awesome.
It's crazy.
Yeah, I love it. I love how this works.
Are you guys always on?
Pardon me?
Are you guys on this all the time?
I do this weekly. Yeah, I do at least one a week, and if not, 2, 3 a week. It all depends. But if you follow myself and if you follow Kelly, this is Kelly's first time on Blab, actually. But if you follow us, yeah, I'm sure that you'll see more of the guests that I have come in and talk with me about ideas around mindset. Kelly, what would be your parting thoughts for people around wealth?
I would say my biggest takeaway for everyone listening would be, no matter where you are at right now, don't ever think that you can't create the reality that you desire. I felt like I was at the end of my rope last year at this time. I literally felt like I was never going to make it. And so much can change, right? So much can change when we give ourselves permission to receive, and we give ourselves permission to choose. And I would just say, just don't get disheartened. Don't give up, and get supported, right? Whether it's a coach or whether it's a community, get support from people that are also creating the same kind of reality for themselves. So
yeah, I love that, Kelly. That's so true. Do you mind, Kelly, putting the link for your either your challenge or your Facebook group, just one of your links one more time so that people can catch it again? And Mel, please do the same if you have a Facebook group or social media. whatever you'd like. Put it in the trail here. And I always upload my blabs to YouTube, so I'll be sharing that in my group. And Kelly, I'll be sending you the link as well. And I have to tell you, Kelly, that, you know, you and I had seen each other in a few groups before, and I think we just kind of resonated with each other's message. And I'm so glad you reached out to me a few weeks back when you did, and that I was able to catch you today on Periscope. I just really love your vibe. I love how honest and real you are about your message, and you're not scared to be a little bit tough about it. I love that. I think that's so incredibly important, especially for a woman. Like, go get it. Are you kidding? It's going to be awesome. And I want to thank you, Mel, for jumping in all the way from New Zealand. I love that you help people of all ages in a motivational way. I think that's so important. And, you know, the more we can do to empower each other, the better off we're going to be. Look at all these people joining as I'm signing off. I'm so sorry, everybody. We're running out of time only because I'm running out of battery and it's cold out here. So, thank you again, Mel. And thank you, Kelly.
So Laura, thank you. I really want to like just express my gratitude to you because I've had my eyes on you for so long, and every time I've seen you, you know, every time we've interacted on social media, I've just been so uplifted by your energy and your message, and I just thank you for creating this space and for doing the work that you do. I feel blessed. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. That's so sweet. You know, I am someone that really just fell into this. I resisted doing this, and now that I'm doing it, I just absolutely love it. And I have to tell you, I have a big, huge shift and surprise coming up that I can't wait to share with you guys. So stay tuned for that. Yeah, it's going to be really, I'm considering it epic, so I can't wait.
Yeah, awesome.
Yeah, so thank you, Kelly. And if I haven't already, I'm going to join your group. I don't know if I jumped in there today or not. It's been kind of a whirlwind day, but thank you, everybody who tuned in, and anybody who's listening to the replay. By all means, find the Wildly Wealthy Women group in Facebook. Follow Kelly Atwood. She's going places, and I tell you, she's got some really great advice and practical advice on her free challenge this week. By all means, jump in on that as well. So thank you, everybody. Thank you, Kelly. I appreciate it.
Thanks, Laura. Have a great night. Stay warm.
Okay, thank you. Bye-bye.